Now that we know what we need, and we have what we need, which is Microsoft Access 2013 and a login to, in our case, Office 365 business account. So on File, Account, we can see that we're logged in, and we can see that SharePoint is one of our connected services. The steps then are to go to File and New. And for the first time, we can choose the little option here that says Custom Web App rather than one of the wizards or blank desktop databases. We're then presented with the Custom Web App dialog box. The first stage is to give our web app a name. I'm going to call mine Training 2013. I then have a choice of two locations. Both of them are actually on the same SharePoint server. One is Personal Apps, so will only be available to me and not the public. And then one is the NYBytes team site, NYBytes being the name of the SharePoint server. And then this will be available to everybody who's in my team, effectively. You'll see that as I switch between the two, the web location does change slightly, but they're still going to the same SharePoint server, which is Access 2013 Training. So I don't need to fill this web location in. That's already pre-filled by my choice of available locations. If there is nothing in these boxes, then you are not signed in to a SharePoint server. That's the basics of it. So you go back to File and Account. So having decided on my location and change the name so it's spelled correctly, Training 2013, and we can click Create. And because we're creating something on a server, there is a perceptible delay while it contacts the server, and you will need to have internet access at all times when managing and dealing with your custom web app. You can then see that once the web app makes contact and starts to build itself, that the ribbons have changed completely. We simply have a home ribbon, a table option for creating tables, a view option for creating views, which is unavailable until we have some tables, an advanced option that has a number of choices. We can create a query, blank view, list view, datasheet view, and then a number of macros. And then we have a choice of the navigation pane, and that shows us all our Access objects, as we've seen previously. Once the web app is started and up and running, we have our little startup wizard effectively here that allows us to add some tables. Now we can either add a table by going to Create Table here, or we can import from existing data, from a desktop Access database, from Excel, from a SQL Server database, from a text file, or from a SharePoint list, or we can create a new table by using a built-in template. If I hang on while we talk to the server, so I can make use of the many templates provided for our custom web app. If I'm interested in example, creating a database for holding client information, I would do a search for client, search, and it pulls up a number of what we could refer to as wizard tables, really. So we have clients. That looks like a good option, includes email address and phone numbers. I then choose that, and it says hang on while we create your tables and views. So because I've chosen one of the wizard options, I get a table, which is what I need, and then a number of views for looking at the objects in that table. So there's my table created on the left. And when I click on that table, I see I've already got 3 views. These are views: a list view, datasheet view, and a group view. Without manipulating any of those views, if I then want to see what all of this will now look like live, I click Launch App, and that will trigger my browser and take me to the correct address for my custom web application. Because my application is hosted with Office 365, I'm then taken to the Office 365 site, but I need to log in with a username that has access to the sites within my account. So it's not a fully open to the public, which is not what you want really when you're publishing data online. So I have a username and a password to keep things secure. I'm going to say keep me signed in on this particular machine, and that will take me in and take me to my custom web app. Now you can see the address at the top here. It's Access 2003 Training hyphen, and then some long number, which is my ID.sharepoint.com/training2013, which is the database I've just created. And then it says, well done, you've successfully created an Access app. Now it's time to start designing. Start by adding some tables in Access. Open this app in Access to start adding tables. Well, I've already added some tables, so I just need to refresh my application by clicking on Training 2013. And one refresh later, my client's table loads with its 3 associated views: list, datasheet, and by group. And you can see that they're showing me the same information, even though we don't have any data there yet, but in different ways. So if I go back to the list view, which allows me to see one record at a time, I can use this to add a new record. So I could be the first person entered into my custom web app. Once I've finished entering my data, or enough of my data as I feel fit, I would click Save. I then get added, and it says Changes Saved at the top right, and I see myself in the list view, and in the datasheet view, I'm there as the first row, and in the group view, I'm the only one in the group view, I'm in the business category. So we can use the web-based side of things to access the data and make changes to the data. What we cannot do through the browser is change the structure of our web app. That's all done through Access 2013. So although people can access this part of the application with a browser and a login to the SharePoint server, to actually make changes to the design, we need our Access 2013. So that's an introduction to starting and creating your first custom web app.